Today we are going to talk about Mercury. That is what I couldn't do in the past. So let's talk about Mercury. Now, before going ahead, I like to explain that something about learning astrology. I get many emails and telephone calls asking how someone can learn about other planetary positions or about numerous aspects of Vedic astrology. But I have to tell you, my intention by doing this video presentation is not directly to educate the viewer. It is to inspire people, because a lot of people, they don't know the value of Vedic astrology, and they just neglect this wonderful subject. They are not trying to take something good out of this. So teaching astrology is a different subject, because it's not that easy, and I also must tell you that learning from a teacher is not that easy. Astrology is something which you have to do your own research into the subject and learn more, because if anyone cannot do much research about the horoscope and astrology, then it's difficult to learn the subject. A teacher can give you some basics. So basically, to learn astrology, you can get some basic knowledge from a teacher or from these videos, but you need to put some effort to learn and to dig much into this subject. That is the only way to learn astrology. So my intention is not to teach and not to get more clients or not to market myself. I have done enough. I have always say it is time for my retirement, but I like to inspire people, so one day someone will learn how important is astrology. So let us talk about Mercury. Before going ahead again, I have to remind you, you may have seen many people in our society, they are very talkative. Once you start to talk to them or you ask one question, they will take 10 minutes to answer the question. They are very talkative. There are people like that, and very communicative people. And some, again, very quiet. They don't talk much. Even in some families I have seen, the partner doesn't talk much. Very quiet person. So that is also not good for the harmony and happiness of the relationship or the marriage. And then parents, they come and talk to me and ask why their children getting delayed in talking. So normally a child should talk between 12 to 15 months. Like by 1.5 years, he or she, the baby, should talk about 150 to 200 words. So I would say about 12 to 15 months, that is the time period to start talking. But some, they don't. Why? Some, they take about 3 years, but parents, they panic about this. But good to know why. That is all because of Mercury. And then you find some good accountants or mathematicians, those who are good in calculations and mathematics, etc. That is all because of Mercury. And again, Mercury can create skin problems when it comes to health related issues. I'll come into that point later. Or stuttering effect, speech, difficulty to express things. That is all depending on Mercury. So talkative people, and then there are very quiet people. That is depending on the position of the Mercury. So Mercury is one of the most powerful planets because that relates to wisdom, intellect. Mercury in Sanskrit, buddhi, manas, that is the mind, intelligence, wisdom, intellect, that's all coming from Mercury. So now, if I tell you certain things that we can evaluate from Mercury, having a good Mercury can be good in speech, communication. Logical mind is good, working logically. What is the emotional mind? Emotional mind is moon. We did talk about emotional disturbances happening when the moon is in a negative position. But communication, logical mind, then intelligence, dealing with facts and figures and numbers, that is all Mercury. Some people, they can remember birthdays and telephone numbers very well. Their Mercury is pretty good. I have to tell you something. When my clients, they come here and sit in front of me, when their Mercury is pretty good, I am a bit careful to communicate with them because they take a lot of time to talk. They love to talk. So I don't have much time to listen to all this. They're talking. They're non-stop talkers. That is Mercury. It's very interesting to see that. But when Mercury is pretty weak, they don't even answer my questions. They're very quiet. They're a little bit shy like that. And Mercury people, they can receive things and grasp things very quickly. And their learning ability is pretty good. They're good in advertising or media activities or publishing and telecommunication activities, public speaking, everything Mercury. Mercury is a wonderful communication planet. Wisdom, intellect, and logical mind, facts and figures, numbers, everything because of good Mercury. And but you need not to worry about Mercury if it is not the best in your chart. Now, if Mercury is in Gemini or in Virgo, you have a good Mercury. If Mercury is in Gemini or in Virgo, you have a beautiful Mercury. Mercury, if it is in Pisces, the 12th zodiac sign Pisces, then it is totally debilitated. Now again, don't start to worry just because your Mercury is in Pisces and debilitated. But if this Mercury aspects some positive, strong quality from another planet, these negative energies can get nullified. So Mercury very best in Gemini, very best also in Virgo, but in between, within other zodiac signs, it varies the strength of the planet, but it can get pretty good if Mercury gets some positive aspect from other planets. That is where the difficult thing in astrology to evaluate it. So that's why I want you to learn, meet an astrologer and discuss how your Mercury is placed in horoscope. That will help you, not to come to a judgment that your Mercury is pretty bad. Well, if it is in Gemini or if it is in Virgo, be happy. That's great, beautiful Mercury. And now because of this Mercury good qualities, I said communication and marketing, sales, commerce, teaching and working with facts and figures and numbers and all that, what are the professions that we can see in people with good Mercury? They can be teachers, they can be lecturers, accountants, bankers. But accountants, again, I see some accountants coming to me, they are accountants, but they don't practice it that well. They are not happy or they were unemployed for some time. Why is that? Because Mercury, time to time, this can change depending on planetary periods affecting on your life. They may have encouraged to be, they got the encouragement or the interest to become an accountant due to a planetary aspects and in a definite time period, but they may not practice as good accountants. So same thing with me. I did geology, mineral science, gemology, all minerals related, earth related subject. But how long? Only 10 or 15 years I practice it. That's it. Because this all depending on the planetary influence on you according to the planetary periods, dasha periods. That of course you will learn later. I'll try to teach about that little bit. So Mercury will help you to become a banker or doing accounting or lecturing and things like that, or to become an advisor or a counselor or mathematician, etc. But sometimes some they will practice very well for a long period, some may not. That also what we have to learn, especially people in the IT industry, information technology. That is, Mercury is information and technology is mass. So this combination also can help you to do in information technology. Even for astrologers it's good Mercury. Salespeople, sales staff, writers, publishers and TV moderators, those who are working in commerce, trade and business, heads of TV channels. So those who are in the printing media, even film stars can have good Mercury, because they have to communicate. They have to communicate by acting. Acting is a way of communication. So Mercury is the planet for communication, wisdom, intellect, all that. So having a negative Mercury means pretty bad Mercury, negatively affected Mercury in the birth chart, that can create few problems. But Mercury, as I said, can look after a person for 17 years. Now Venus can take care of a person's life for 20 years, Saturn 19 years, like that. So that is what we call planetary periods. From the birth, there are different time periods the planet can look after. So Mercury 17 years. So if you have Mercury 17 years during your youth, that's great. You can do a lot, because I always say, when you are in the Mercury period, now supposing they get the Mercury period at the age of 14, 15, then 17 years from that onwards, beautiful time. Whenever Mercury comes, some people get Mercury at age 50. Now I am waiting for my Mercury to come in age 72, like. Very soon I will be into Mercury period. That's the reason why I am very much into communication and media, handling these things, or writing blogs and all that. So Mercury period is something very interesting, which will help you to work with your communication, wisdom and intellect, and also to work more enterprising manner. It's an enterprising planet. So in the Mercury period, I always say, if you are into your Mercury period, Mercury Dasha, it is like sitting in the basket of an air balloon. You know, the air balloon has a basket. No? You can sit there and sip a glass of wine, balloon will go up. How many years? 17 years. Mercury period is so beautiful. 17 years. It will help you to get better and better and get uplifted in the Mercury period. Mercury is a very young planet and help people to feel young and vibrant and communicative. So I look forward for that by the age of 71, like another year. So Mercury, if it is weak, what will happen? If Mercury is weak, they are not talk. They don't talk. They are very quiet. Very quiet people. They don't communicate, and they feel shy a little bit. And they find difficult to keep to the point. They struggle a little bit in speech. And that will spoil the journey a little bit. And especially children, as I said, if they are not communicative, if they are very quiet, then the Mercury is not the best. So we can take precautions. We can deal with them. We can communicate more with them. We can take some action to help them to communicate more. And especially babies, don't worry. Normally they talk in age 12 to 15 months. If delay, definitely a Mercury issue is there, but there can be other health related issues also, which is not my area to discuss. And at school, children might not show that much of interest for mathematics. So again, don't worry. I'm sure Mercury is not the best. So then we can help them. And so again, Mercury is pretty good if it is in Gemini, in the third zodiac sign, Gemini, or if it is in Virgo, or it is pretty bad if it is in Pisces. But if Mercury is with Venus, beautiful. Mercury adds beauty to the communication. So they are very good in creative communication or diplomacy in communication. Again, Mercury is a communication planet, but Mars is a fighter. If I see Mars and Mercury together, wow, they are very abrupt, too direct, too straightforward in speech, very argumentative. And Mercury and Moon, logical and emotional mind. Mercury is logical, Moon is emotional. So that helps people to use logics and emotions to put things in writing. They are good in writing skills. So those combinations also can add value. So if Mercury is in the very first house of the horoscope, wow, That's great. They look definitely young. I have seen so many. Even at the age of 60, they look like 40 if they have a good Mercury in the very first house, or if there's Mercury influence to the first house. Mercury is such a young planet, that's why. And health-related hearing problems we evaluate for Mercury, because Mercury communication, hearing problems, and lungs, and the nervous system especially also Mercury. And I have seen so many, if Mercury is weak, if Mercury is pretty bad, if Mercury is debilitated in the horoscope, most of them, they have skin problems. They have dry skin, eczema, or psoriasis, or skin-related problems. That is 90% of the time I have seen. Because by talking to clients, I learned that. And Mercury can become retrograde about 3 to 4 times a year for a period of 3 weeks. Now, retrograde means planet is not going backward. We see it's going like backward movement. That is as if when you go in a train and you will see the trees and the near to the train going backward like. So that effect, retrograde, means planets not going backward. Actually, it's how we see that. And Mercury can retrograde 3 to 4 times yearly for a period of 3 weeks. During that period, definitely there are some issues. Mercury retrograde can create computer-related problems, communication problems. Your communication equipment can get problem. Your software can get problems. Your telephone and computers, and sometimes when you draft an article or document, you have to check twice. When you send emails, check twice in the Mercury retrograde period. I know. So some from the radio station, they talk to me and ask, when is Mercury going to be retrograde? Because they are very careful, because they are announcers, they are moderators, they talk all the time in the radio. They have to be very careful. So Mercury retrograde period, we need to be careful with all the communication activities. So the best day for Mercury is Wednesday. Wednesday is the best day. That is the Mercury day. Buddha means Mercury, Badada, that is Mercury. And color is green. The best color for Mercury is green. Mercury takes about 10 months to go through all 12 zodiac signs. 10 months to go through all 12 zodiac signs. And about 25 days it will be in one zodiac sign. So we need to evaluate all that. Where is the Mercury at the moment, to look into the present situation. And to remind again, Mercury is good in Virgo and good in Gemini, but debilitated in Pisces. So Mercury is very friendly with Sun, Venus and Rahu. Mercury is friendly with Sun, Venus and Rahu. Enemy with Moon. That doesn't mean that Mercury and Moon cannot work together. That what gives us writing skills. And natural with normal, Mars, Saturn and Jupiter. Mercury is very neutral. Mars, Saturn and Jupiter. And it is smallest planets in the solar system, slightly smaller than the Moon. Nearest planet to the Sun, therefore very hot, about 430 degrees Celsius during daytime and 280 degrees Celsius in the night. So there's no life in Mercury. So that's about Mercury. But let's find out what are the remedies for Mercury. Remedies, I always categorize spiritual remedies and charitable, and then gem remedies, all that. But spiritually, the best is meditation. That will help you to become calm and to communicate well. Meditation is very helpful, calmness. And that will help us to be polite in speech and be lovable in speech, be good in speech, talk to people nicely. That is the way to strengthen your Mercury quality. Do not rush in speech or stop argumentative nature. Stop blaming people. That is the best way to strengthen your Mercury. Do not use words to hurt people. We do that sometimes unknowingly. Spend time to educate and teach people. Disseminate what you know, your knowledge to the others. Share your knowledge with others. That's the way to strengthen Mercury. So meditation, calmness in speech, not to be argumentative, share your knowledge, and don't hurt people by your words. Then the next step is in Mercury is charity. That is great. Spend on educating and teaching children. Donate books for libraries, etc. Educate people. Help them to educate. Fund their education. Funding for students and helping them to get best of education. And then donate communication equipment such as telephones or computers or laptops or tablets or anything communicating equipment needed for communication. Donate. And then donate things like pencils and books to write. That is also communication. So charitable activity is good. Then of course people ask for gems. Gems which I am not that happy because spending money unnecessarily. The best color for Mercury is green, I said. So green color gems pretty good. Then people think emerald is the best. But please be very careful when buying emeralds. Emeralds are the pretty hardest mineral, difficult mineral to evaluate. Even a gemologist, I have been working as a gemologist, it's so hard to identify a natural emerald and a synthesized man-made emerald. Today they are almost look the same. So why do you want to spend a lot of money on emerald without knowing it is a genuine one or a synthesized one? Green color minerals are there, green tourmaline, olivine, peridot, you can use that. But again, before spending for gems, just go for spiritual practice, meditation and training yourself to be calm in speech and more diplomatic in speech, and then do some charitable activities to educate people or to support them to get some educational equipment, etc. That's how we go with Mercury. So the mantras also there, the simple mantra, better to chant on a Wednesday, Om Bhu Buddhaya Namaha, Om Bhu Buddhaya Namaha, Om Bhu Buddhaya Namaha. Or you can say Om Buddhaya Namaha. That is the mantra. But again, spiritual practice, charitable activities will help you a lot to strengthen Mercury. So Mercury is a beautiful planet. It is the planet which will help us to communicate. Which is the planet which helps us to develop our mind, intellect, logical thinking, etc. So check your horoscope, how the Mercury is placed, and take necessary actions to strengthen that Mercury. So that is about Mercury. Let's come back and meet again with Jupiter next time. So wish you all the best. Bye-bye.